Tuesday, rawmike.richards.com, broadcasting live from the DKI studios in downtown Toronto, 234 King Street East, out of the very stylish Pacific Junction Hotel. And by stylish, do I mean they have pissers? That's exactly what I'm talking about. Also heard every Monday exclusively on Sportsnet, the Fan 960. Today we have a very special guest. And we got a real cool announcement as well. For those of you who have followed our show, you're at least familiar with Kevin Porter. His meeting with us actually was about almost exactly a year ago. It was about a year ago. Okay. So this first responders, they like to say, at the age of 42, 43, has decided that he was going to return and try to make a professional lineup. We've got an announcement today, and this is very cool. We think of all those new faces we've seen since we started doing this webcast, this podcast, this show. Kevin, to me, goes almost exactly to the top of the list in terms of what I think, from all those years of being the son of a coach, coaching myself, and from a family of teachers. The example that he has led and his dedication to what he wants to do, on top of also being EMS, is that what we're saying? Or firefighter?
Full-time firefighter, and I work as a paramedic as well.
And okay, so you can't get more admirable than that. So it's just a great example of what I think we want to see from our kids, to be honest. So he is in studio with us today. And Kevin Porter, thank you so much. We'll just move this in a little closer.
Thanks for having me.
You have been on the ice. What is your schedule? What is your schedule when you hit the ice that a lot of people would see if they follow you on Twitter?
Most mornings I'm at the MasterCard Center after my night shift, either at fire or EMS. Training, I like to train in the morning. It's easier for me to book ice time during the week. Weekends is a little tighter because of tournaments and teams and things like that, but most mornings after work I'm heading straight to the rink.
So you've already done your shift and then you hit the ice?
Correct.
That's tough, man.
I don't think your brother would do that. I gotta be honest. I don't think Mike's doing that. I mean,
I don't know. He joined me a couple times.
He does stuff. He does other stuff after his shift.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
We'll get into that another day.
Yeah, Mike, by the way, there's some stuff coming your way, so get ready, buddy. But I would like to say that after, the amount of hours that you've put in, a lot of people see it. Certainly I do on Twitter, that we have an announcement that, and certainly that maybe you'd like to make. I think hard work does pay off. And, the never give up, don't stop trying has always been a motto. It's certainly one of ours as well. And what would you like to tell the fans of Raw Mike Richards today that's happening with Kevin Porter?
I just like to thank everybody who's helped me. Jim Thompson, Eddie Choi, Adrian Lamonaco, Vince Tarantino, Vanessa Crone, some members of the Toronto Maple Leafs, you know who you are. My wife, Ashley, for all the support. People I work EMS and fire with. And I've managed to... I was invited to training camp for the Rapid City Rush, East Coast Hockey.
There you go, right there.
Yeah, I'm
awesome.
So the hard work is, it's far from over. I did not sign a contract. This is
a chance.
For me, it's a good opportunity, and I'm really looking forward to it. I think they have a great organization. I've spoken with the coaching staff, and I'm just really excited to get started and see where it leads.
So what do they say to you as a guy that's coming in on a PTO?
Correct.
And they obviously they hope it works out for their end too, not only your end, because it would be a great find for them. But what do they say to you? What does the coaching staff say to you when you're less than a month into joining them on the ice?
Just come down, have fun. And that's always been, I think, when I've been able to, get ahead of the curve a little bit with my training and stuff. It's just been, my model's always been to have fun with it. And, don't put any undue stress on myself. Go out there and actually, like, I want to do it. I'm not making, you know, the huge 7-figure contract, or 6-figure contract, but I'm just going out there and having fun, and I'm competing. And I went to the Brampton Beast Camp this summer for a little bit of a warm up, if you will.
Yeah.
You know, it was close to home. I had a good showing, and then I got a call 2 days later from Rapids. So, yeah, just chip away. You know, just keep going. I've always kind of had a master plan, a game plan. I didn't really have a timeline on it. So,
Right.
you know.
So I've got some music for this. You ready?
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, your Rapid City Rush! Starting what, right wing? What are we playing? You playing right wing, center? What are you playing?
I'll play whatever the coach wants me to.
Yeah, good attitude, good answer.
At right wing, wearing number
11, Mark.
11,
There you go.
Kevin Porter!
I did not know this was their introduction. See the
In
things
goal,
to
number 00, Russell Graham. He's shit! He's shit!
learn. He started their 4th goalie.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever position they want, whatever number they give me, I'm good.
Yeah.
Well,
exactly.
I just want to go and compete and learn, and I think just looking at the roster, the guys invited, how it's shaping up, it looks like it'll be a lot of fun and a lot of depth and some new guys, and you know, like I said, I'm a new guy. I'm just there on a PTO, so I just have to go and leave it all out there and enjoy myself.
But there's good hockey everywhere. I mean, you know, you're talking about the ECHL. You know, there's a lot of names that have come and gone from that particular league. If people are sort of curious, so we should probably take a look at Russell. This is from about 6 months ago. This is a game with Tulsa that they played. So this is in their pretty much. It's only a couple of years old, I believe, the facility they play in. We'll take a look at that as well. But this is the Rapid City Rush in South Dakota, and this is what it looks like. This is where Kevin Porter is trying to make that roster.
Apluck behind the Oilers net finds Vanelli up the right wing for Hubs. His pass was out of the reach of Dan DeSalvo. His first game back in an Oilers jersey since November 9th of 2016, early last season, when he scored the overtime winner against the Fort Wayne Comets. DeSalvo right back into the Rapid City zone. Stick handles to get free. Feeds it out front. It hit a skate. DeSalvo gets the puck back. Leads it up to Vanelli on the right wing wall. Vanelli back to Dan DeSalvo again. Across the rink, left circle. Quick centering pass. Tipped on goal. He score! Ryan T-Sink puts the Oilers on the board first. 2:55 into the game.
That is just a little to show you, you know, some of the hockey itself, but the facility. So the facility is pretty much new. So they did a little thing on background on I believe it's called, Russell. What's the name of the?
Rushmore Plaza Civic Center.
Okay, that's right. You don't have a microphone. That's good. The Rushmore Plaza Civic Center. So they did for the ECHL. If you're not familiar with what some of the facilities look like, you'll be surprised. I mean, do they have private boxes? Yeah, they got private boxes. They got everything else that you expect. This is what it looks like.
Hey everyone, Jared Shaffrin here, the voice of the South Carolina Stingrays, coming to you with a new Arenas of the ECHL video. This is the first time for the South Carolina Stingrays in Rapid City, South Dakota, the home of the Rush, the Rushmore Plaza Civic Center. As you can see right here, a great facility. A little bit smaller than some of the other ECHL facilities, coming in at just over 5,000 is the seating capacity. And they have a great sign here, welcome to Rush Nation. Over here is the Bank West Club, which we'll be checking out in a little bit. But as you can see, great facility. The suites are on the far side. There's a wall with a video board here on this side of the rink, and we're coming to you right from where the press box area is. Great view of the game here in the press box. This is where I sit. That's my computer right there. On the other end, the voice of the Rush, Mark Benetti. And here's this wall on this side. The off-ice officials who do the stats and the scoring for the game will sit right behind me and this table out back. And excited to show you a lot about this facility, which actually is a multi-purpose facility. And there's other events that can be held here as well. So we'll get into that in a little bit.
So there it is. There's the facility for the Rush. you know, it's interesting the amount of work that goes into some of these facilities. They just don't show up out of nowhere. I'll give you a great example. I don't know if you've ever been to Everett, where the Silvertips play.
Silvertips, yeah.
So at the time,
Kevin Constantine territory. He was a longtime coach there.
Right. Well, when we were there, it was Ray Ferraro. His son was playing for them, and actually got badly hurt that game. He got seriously hurt. But what I do remember about being at that particular facility is they went around North America and kind of took the best of each thing and sort of put it in there. I was amazed at how unbelievable, how smart that building was. And as you just saw there, Kevin, that's where you're going to be heading in the month of October.
Yes.
And, you know, at 42, 43 now. Who's counting? Hey, once it gets over that, it mashes them together. What do you think the average age of those in the ECHL? Because it's probably a little higher than people think. Is it still higher than mid-20s?
Well, I'd say probably 26.
Right.
So yeah, fairly young. I've been really fortunate the last couple years, been able to train with a lot of younger guys. So that's kind of like, it's like bite off more than you can chew, learn how to chew, right? So
Absolutely.
you're forced just to keep going. So yeah, I look forward to it.
Got a tweet about 2 minutes ago. So when you go to a PTO, and you've been to a couple different ones, do you you have to set up your own base basically? Do you rent a hotel room? How do you take care of all the off ice issues? Because I'm guessing you haven't been to South Dakota. That's just under North Dakota. I've been there a couple times, just because of geography speaking. But so how do you set up for everything off the ice? Because a lot of what happens off the ice penetrates to what you do on the ice, because you have to have a comfortable surrounding. You're not driving home after the practice. You're not going to be eating as well, but you're going to try to make that work. So how does that work exactly?
So the Rush, they're putting the guys up in apartments.
Good
for the camp. So that's really nice of them, and I guess I don't think any team really has to do that, but they're taking really good care of the guys, and so you'd be able to prepare good food.
Yeah.
And nutrition and rest is obviously it's a huge component of any athletics, right? And for me, especially the rest thing with shift work and trying to attain all this, like getting enough sleep, which is often not the case, kind of running at 70%, but the nutrition's huge. So having a good place to prepare your food,
yes,
and that's really important, and get a good night's sleep.
So what do you think is going to be the biggest challenge? I mean, you have a certain there's coaches out there, there's a window of opportunity. Sometimes it's longer or shorter depending on what you want. But if you think of challenges, what is the thing that you believe you have to establish that's going to catch their eye? You're on a professional tryout contract, so what do you think that's going to be? Can you pinpoint that, or do you think that's too specific?
No, it's a great question, Mike. I think I just try to keep the game simple, right? And outwork guys, finish my checks, skate, get to the open areas, create some havoc, and
create havoc. We like havoc creators. We do
absolutely.
Like that.
I actually like the rough stuff. So I'm not a fighter, but
if
rough stuff. I mean hitting, getting hit.
Throw your body. Yeah.
It's a physical game, and the landscape of the game has changed a lot. But as you go on in the season, like every team in any league, you play to make the playoffs, right? You have to make the playoffs to compete for the big wins. So I think if you can play physical and attain that throughout the season, it wears other teams down, and they're going to be thinking twice about the plays they're making. When you play physical, it forces turnovers, it forces mistakes. So I'll just try to keep it simple and skate hard, hit, back check. Keep it simple.
Well, I can tell you this, that as much as 43 might seem to be a little bit up there, I'm going to make you feel real good. I went on, I said, can I find an older hockey player than Kevin Porter? And as a matter of fact, I did, and he beat you by just a couple of years.
My name is Mark Sudic. I'm listed as the world's oldest active hockey player. I'm 95 years old, looking forward to my 96 in July now. I do my exercises daily, right here in the front room. My push-ups, my sit-ups. Before I busted up both of my shoulders, I lifted weights, but now I gotta stay away from that. I've been playing ice hockey for 85 years. It's a great way to get the community together. I very seldom think of what my age is. It's just a number. It's not really a big factor unless you let it be a big factor. I live in Duluth, Minnesota. Lived here for most of my life, actually. Yes. I feel very fortunate that I'm able to do what I'm doing. Every time I'm on the ice, I want to do the best that I can.
Everybody has a good time out there. You build these relationships and you work together as a team. And sharing laughs and having coffee together, there's nothing like it.
I broke my sternum. Both my shoulders are shot. 2 fractured ribs and punctured lung about a year ago. I'm a living relic, I guess.
Well, when I first thought it, I thought it was Lanny McDonald, but I realized Lanny's only 87. So once again, at 95.
Incredible.
But isn't that? I mean, but to your point of what you do, and I kind of feel the same way. I think probably Dave does as well. Very rarely do I just think of what my age is. I think of what my capability is. So if there's a number on that, I mean, it's a little different. We're not gonna try for a pro team like you have, but the same sort of philosophy about what your life is about is, if you're not, as we like to say in Canada, giving her, then what are you doing?
Well, yeah, for sure.
I mean, that's what you've done in your lifetime, and I would think if you don't have that support at home, if you don't have support from many other places, you might have to second guess yourself if you're delusional or if this is just sort of a pipe dream that is a waste of time. Because clearly, when you get a contract or at least a potential for this, it is serious because they feel it's serious and they're going to take a shot on this.
Absolutely. And that's why I didn't really give myself a timeline. And, every day, no matter what you do, right? If you get incrementally better at something, you get more confident. When you get more confident, you're able to get better. You train with different people. You pick people's brains. Like, I've had some unbelievable pointers given to me from some people, down at the MasterCard Center and stuff that I've really taken and tried to, fix up the toolbox, if you will, and add some more things to that. But yeah, things that I've been through in my life before, things I see still this day in my jobs, it just makes you realize how fragile life is. So, like, why would you not want to do it?
No.
Like I think, as with all of us, the Humboldt tragedy really hit home and still does, and it still will for a lot of years with those families and kids. And having experienced tragedy myself, with my mom and that when I was young, it strikes a chord in you that it's got to change you for the better, right? You hope, and I hope that those guys and their families can move on from that. And
now, for those watching and listening here today, when you say tragedy with your mom, what is the story for those that don't know?
So I was 16. I was trying to play. I was playing AA. I was trying to make a AAA feeder team. My goal was to be a Kitchener Ranger. I grew up in Kitchener, and
Sure.
that's what you did, right? So, my nana, like her mom, so my nana, she passed away from breast cancer in January of 1992, and then at the end of March 31st, my mom got killed in a construction accident. So, right there, you're 16, you're trying to play hockey, you're going through puberty, you got all these changes, and now I've lost, both of my moms basically, because my nana lived with us for many years. So, after a couple years of floundering around, 16 to 20 or whatever, I said, okay, it's time to get on the horse and go back to school. And, that's decided to go back to be a paramedic. And then I worked as a paramedic for 2 years full time, and then went back to school for firefighting and got on in the fire department. And I tried to turn tragedy into something positive, right? And my whole life hasn't been positive, and my mom wouldn't have approved of everything I've done. But
well,
the most,
you got derailed. I mean, you got derailed at 16.
Yeah.
I mean, that's as blindsided as you get, and
Yes.
at the age, as you said, where there's a lot of weight to the things that you're doing, a lot of indecision as a young person. It's almost understandable that it wouldn't be a straight line from there on in.
No, for sure. But, you just try to, gain momentum as you go along and find things that inspire you. So, and then, yeah, I mean, like, the hockey thing, it didn't, man, I don't think I even played for 5 years. I just was so focused on school and work and, other things and weight training, kickboxing. And then when I started playing again, I was like, the more I got playing, the more I realized I really missed it. And I was almost, angry that I didn't get my shot. So, well, I was angry. I'm still a little angry. I think that's what helps fuel you, right? It helps fuel you. So, that's just been part of the process and finding, something to motivate you, right? Like daily.
Getting some information off our YouTube channel. Ted Nesbitt from Blade Tape says he'd like to send you $100 US for groceries or beer, and he'll be getting in touch with you shortly. I sent some particulars, and he's on board. He's watching us live on our feeder system, so he's touched by the story, and he wants to help you out a little bit.
Oh, yeah. I really appreciate that, but please, like, donate the money. Donate it to a charity. Like, honestly, if you're watching.
Oh, he's watching.
Yeah. I think they're feeding us. So, and I'll be drinking BioSteel, not beer.
That's okay.
Not BioSteel.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but no, I really appreciate, that's a very kind offer. Donated, go buy coffee at Sick Kids Hospital or something.
Teddy, maybe make some specialty, because this is what they do. This is Blade Tape right here.
Exactly.
Maybe get some Porter tape. Or some Rush. Who knows? It's interesting you talk about, when it comes to junior hockey, depending on where you live, there is a draw to naturally where you think you're going to play. I think if you're from my area, which was Markham Stouffville, when Markham had their teams, it was Markham. But, guys in my area, including guys like Keith Acton, for us was the Peterborough Petes. We wanted to play for the Petes. Sometimes it was the Oshawa Generals, because it wasn't that far. I think if you're in sort of southwestern Ontario, even though Windsor is there, Kitchener and London are meccas for just what they have produced. And I think with the Leaf season coming up, Dave, we talked a while ago about who would get certain amount of points. I know we went through, because it was an NHL network that had their top 10s and 20s of whether it was the centers or right wingers, goalies. We went through that. I still think, at least to my way of thinking, that Mitch Marner could have a freakishly good year. I think it's set up for him to do extremely well. And not surprisingly, we'll just take a look at some of his work when he played with the London Knights. But the talent was evident, when we showed the brick tournament stuff out in Edmonton, when they're children. These are children.
Yeah, you can tell.
You can tell. And then, what you're able to do in junior, I really think that this is going to be a year for him. And courtesy of Rogers Sportsnet, here is what it looked like when you had to play him when he was a London Knight.
55 remaining in the Ottawa penalty. Look at this! Marner upstairs! Another PK goal! Well, you want skill. This is skill right here. Through the legs and backhand up over the shoulder. Now Jamel Smith. Up all the way. Marner cuts the net. Marner scores! Marner made it look easy there. Driving the net, getting through the crease. You see Marner just get it to his forehand. Wait, and he gets there, and Chris, that's a dandy of a goal. Oh, wow. Mitch Marner, the rookie, getting his first OHL playoff point.
Can't hold it in, and here's a chance for Mitch Marner. Breakaway, coming out to challenge Nichols. Marner, a move, scores! Mitch Marner with a great move to tie the game at 1. And the youngster shows you why he was second in the voting for the OHL Rookie of the Year.
And he burned on the Jets there at the turnover at the London blue line, and he made no mistake for his third goal of these playoffs. A big one it was to tie this hockey game.
Marner will pick it up. And across the line, looking for Klima. Marner, look at that! Front! Shoot! Oh! Highlight goal! 5-0. Beautiful play here by Mitchell Marner as he puts it back out front. Lazarev out of position because he had to play Marner on the shot right there.
Yeah, those are decent skills, I would say.
Mitch Marner, by the way, part of the lineup tonight. The Maple Leafs open up their preseason, don't say exhibition, apparently.
No, very upset about that.
Yeah, very upset. I don't losers. Connor Brown in the lineup, Josh Levo, Nazem Kadri, Zach Hyman, John Tavares, new player, I guess. Travis Dermott, Ron Hainsey, Justin Hall, Morgan Riley, Jordan Subban will get his first Maple Leaf look. Curtis McElhinney, Garrett Sparks are your goaltenders, and it's the Ottawa Senators, the opposition. Sportsnet television has the game starting at, I believe it's 7:30, right, Rusty Bear? 7:30.
It's incredible when you think of, going back to our day, where not only was the draft not on TV, sometimes you had to go up and explain to the coaches. And my name's Mike Richards. You drafted me from I'm from Smooth Rock Falls, or you're up north somewhere. My parents drove me down
from Moosonee,
from Moosonee, because that's the way it used to be. I mean, the big deal in its day, and I think Paul Hendrick could probably relate to this, on, like, say, Channel 11, and you'd see the blue-white highlights from the practices, and people thought that was indulgent, that you would actually show blue-white, not even an exhibition game, that the Leafs would be there, like, okay, a little bit over top in the area. A little different now, and once again, we're going to hear the voice of our good friend Paul Hendrick. They're in Niagara. Right, so Niagara and the people. I believe it's free to go to those games. I'm sure it was.
Yeah,
I think it was.
There's lineups, but you get in.
But there it is, a blue-white scrimmage, and you can actually see it on television, probably on Leafs TV. It is remarkable where this game sits at now, because people. Russell, did you watch it?
Not live.
Okay, didn't see it live, but you're going to see it right now on Raw Mike Richards.
Welcome to Niagara Falls as we are set for the third and final switch in day 3 at the Gale Center in the honeymoon capital. Team White, Team Blue, and we are underway.
Andy.
Blue in deep, opportunity to go to the net. Puck check, over to the corner. From the slot, goalpost, that's Austin Matthews, and that off a nice pass from Jake Gardner.
Well, Austin Matthews showing his ability to get that shot away very quickly. He beats Pickard, but off the goalpost and out the other way.
With the exception, however, of Justin Hall and Morgan Riley. On the near side is Ryan Moore, but Riley will keep it. Riley goes up and in the middle, and a great glove save right there off the rush by Kazimir Kaskasuo. Kadri looking for Bradley. Tyler Ennis with some wheels. He has it. Very nearly called on the offside, but it was on. Nice pickpocket here by Austin Matthews, top of the circle. Matthews with the feathered pass. Shoots and score.
Wow, what a nifty play. And Austin Matthews talking about wanting to have more assists this year. He waits out Calvin Pickard and fakes like he's going to shoot it. He dishes it across, and it's Tyler Ennis with tremendous finish as he puts it up into the top shelf in Team Blue with a 1-0 advantage.
So there it is. There's your training camp footage, blue-white. But now you're not going to see all the split squad stuff. I guess you're seeing,
some split squads.
They're still going to do, yeah. But we're saying what the preseason kind of the more sensitive stuff starts tonight.
Correct. Yeah.
Now, in those scrimmages, and again, it's fun for Leaf fans to kind of look at it. But if you're really looking at the places the coaching staff is looking at, the areas they believe they're going to be most susceptible, are they looking at number one, who that backup's going to be? Do they really believe they have?
That's a
competition. Who they think it is?
Well, he better be in camp, because they have. I think they have a couple nice backups between Curtis McElhinney, Garrett Sparks, Calvin Pickard. To tell you the honest truth, and I don't think he's number 2 right now. I personally think Calvin Pickard is the best of the 3.
Really interesting.
And I bet you on that depth chart he might be 4th. That's the surprising part. I love what this guy did with the Avalanche when he was given the opportunity. He even played at the World Championships that same year as the starting goaltender. Fell out of favor when he went to Vegas. I still don't understand that situation. He comes over with the Maple Leafs. Garrett Sparks has the season of a decade in the American Hockey League, the best American Hockey League goaltender, and Calvin was the backup there, but I don't know. I think there's opportunity to be made somewhere. If he doesn't crack this lineup, he will not be part of the organization. They can't put him back in the minors without clearing waivers. If that's a situation, somebody's going to pick up that goaltender.
You're watching Raw Mike Richards on the website or the dedicated YouTube channel. Of course, those across listening as a podcast, where we have iTunes, Stitcher, You name it, we're on it. Google Play. And today in studio, Kevin Porter, who has just announced after his hard work at the age of 43, is got a PTO with in South Dakota with the ECHL team, the Rapid City Rush. Did you know much about this? Like, how did they come to find you? How does that work? And a lot of people are going to be curious about, well, what did you just, in the day we'd say you'd send tapes, but now you don't have to do that.
Tape. Yeah.
Tape.
So
like Napoleon Dynamite, you know, when the Uncle Ricky's throwing the football at the
Uncle
van?
Rico, yeah.
Uncle Rico, that's right, Uncle
Over
Rico.
them mountains.
Yeah.
So probably the easiest thing the last bunch of years has just been the training. One of the most challenging things was to actually get an opportunity somewhere. So before I went to Sweden to play in 2015, 2016, I actually had an agent from Uptown Sports, and Don was trying to get me some tryouts and this and that. But my age and the fact that I hadn't played for a long time were, obviously factors. So when that ran its course, after I went to Sweden, I said, I'm just going to try to do this on my own, and I'm going to use social media to kind of put out videos and clips. And it just became kind of, I guess, habitual. Like I would just tape everything. It's like I was an athlete and a videographer and a social media guy. Like, and I'm like, okay, like I can't let this cut into my training, but I have to record this stuff because in order for someone to see me, like if it's not going to happen the other way, I was like, I'm going to make this happen. So I would just, people probably got sick of seeing stuff, but I was just like Porter's putting up stuff again. And I would just use every social media platform I had. And then, I was very fortunate. Somebody works at the St. Louis Blues organization was kind enough, and I'm very thankful to Jamie. And he passed on some stuff, and I was able to get a shot in Rapid. So, it just worked out.
No, I said I was thrilled when I heard about it, and it's just not a easy thing to do at all. And for those that who see what the workout is, I mean, these are you also show the dryland stuff as well. It's not just you in pylons and pucks. Sometimes I've seen on Twitter where you actually, there's some of the weight training I've seen.
Well, it's a big component too, and I think overall athletic training, right? So being good in multi-sports or doing multiple activities, mountain biking, sprints, Muay Thai. I've been training with a Muay Thai coach for a number of years, Gerald Ching at Mafa gym in Mississauga. And,
Muay Thai is awesome, by the way.
Flexibility. Yeah, the flexibility. And, we train in rounds, so 3-minute rounds, right? Hockey shifts, 35 to 45 seconds. So you're training the body system, right? You're training that system a little bit longer with Muay Thai, but you want to train the system for 30 to 40 seconds to be efficient, right? So when you get tired, this goes, right? So you try to stave that off so you can think and make good plays, because don't want to go down there and make dumb plays, and it'll be a quick exit for me, right? So
it sounds something like Mike Babcock would say. You got to make good plays. You got to don't make dumb plays, because this is the pros, and you got to do it the right way, or you can't stay with the group. And I like what you done there, Kevin. I've been to South Dakota myself. I used to vacation down there, and not the prettiest place. It's not the best looking girls, but you'll do okay down there. I'll give you that.
What's going on? I don't know. I don't understand.
Yeah, like I said, I'll just keep it simple. Work hard, compete. And I'm looking forward to playing with some of the really good players, so that'll be a lot of fun. And like there's kids, there's older guys. I'm not sure if there's anyone that was born in '75, but it'll be fun, right? Like you gel as a team, and
at that point
exactly
it won't matter.
right. Yeah. Under the helmet and the gear, sometimes it's hard to tell ages on the ice. So
when that's what you want,
yeah, and just go out there and perform, and and have some fun and see what happens.
Well, as we get closer, Dave, you said tonight for the Leafs, the one, in generally, for our business, because we cover a lot of people. But when you get to know someone, it's kind of a drag a little bit when they get traded. So for JVR, who we got to know a little bit, been on the show a couple of times, just liked the guy. When he beat the MasterCard and the stuff that he'd work on, like people would think, around the net with the sticks between the legs and the behind the back. he was working on that stuff all the time. I mean, it never wasn't being worked on. He had the great attitude, and I think, Dave, I don't think anyone's surprised that JVR isn't here. I mean, it's just the nature of monetarily cap situations and what you give and get. But it's a little bit of a drag, and so back in Philly, I think he'll do well though. I mean, because there's still a lot of
that's a lot of money. $7 million a year.
Yeah. There's a lot of. I still think there's gas left in the tank, though.
There's gas left in the tank
because I thought he could go to the Rangers, and I thought for the Rangers that would have been a good pickup.
I think it's better off in Philadelphia. I think they have a better upside. The only thing the Flyers are missing right now, and stop me if you've heard this in the last 30 years, a goaltender. They do not have a goaltender that stops a puck. Occasionally they do, but that's the number one problem, and I think that's the difference between Flyers, postseason Flyers, missing the postseason. JVR is going to help out. I wouldn't be surprised if he's playing with like a Claude Giroux net, very similar to another Philadelphia Flyer, Tim Kerr. You probably remember Tim Kerr. Basically the original Thomas Holmstrom of the 80s version of the NHL, where you sit in front of the net and you pick up garbage. He has very great hands, and he knows what to do with them. But he's on the hook for a while, so I'm kind of curious to see what this contract looks like or feels like from the Flyers' perspective in 4 years, where you're like, oof, we still got him on the books, eh? I don't think it's going to be a Milan Lucic, but in a couple years, the Flyers might sit there and regret that.
Well, you should know that we've got a little feature here that on JVR, and so he's taken an apartment that he's been in before. Where's he going to live? Why? He's going to live where Mike Richards used to live.
So it's actually funny. This place, one of my former teammates lived here last time I played here, Mike Richards. So I had a little bit of experience.
Hey, you're welcome.
With this part of town and this building, and
you'll love the bar.
This unit. So it always seemed like such a great layout and a great setup. You had some great outdoor space here too, and it seemed perfect. So when I was first looking at places and this kind of popped up, I jumped over at it and wanted to check it out again, and it was. Again, still pretty cool. So there's lots to like about it for sure. Little sort of kind of office / little treatment room / recovery room. So got the massage table all set up, ready to go, and for treatment and stuff like that. A biomat there that I kind of lay on at night to kind of just unwind and relax, and get the Normatec boots here too to flush out the legs and that sort of stuff. So that's good. But yeah, there's just some cool pictures and some stuff from some good memories playing over the years, and some cool games, and just again some other cool stuff. This is probably my favorite one of my favorite photos in here is just on the ice after my brother was able to win the Stanley Cup his first year in Chicago. So that was pretty special to be out there to be able to share that with him. So that was a cool picture, a cool memory. So. Yeah, you know what? This one is actually really cool too. This is a new sort of addition. So we'll get two actually here. But so these were at some of the games in Toronto, and Walter Gretzky would come to some of those games, and my parents stopped him a few times for some pictures, and he couldn't have been more gracious. And then last year I got a chance for the first time to meet Wayne Gretzky, and that was a huge thrill. Just it's kind of a funny sort of story. I was just having a bite to eat, and just saw this media person in Toronto, and he just said, "Hey James, how you doing?" And we're chatting a little bit, and he's like, I got a fan that wants to meet you. And I'm just not really knowing what to expect, kind of expecting just someone, again, who's a big hockey fan or whatever, and I get a tap on the shoulder, and I turn around, and I looked, and I saw who it was, and I'm like, oh my God, like my reaction was pretty priceless. So yeah, that was pretty cool. He couldn't have been a better guy. I got to meet him and his wife, and yeah, again, he's obviously a great ambassador for hockey and all that he's done for the game. So that was a pretty special moment to meet someone like that, someone who you've idolized for a long time.
So there's JVR making himself at home in Mike Richards' home.
Yes. So he has a massage parlor in his home. Did I get that right?
Who's fighting that?
Yeah.
Not me.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
I hear you. Okay.
I think that Russell was a little upset watching that feature. I think he's crying in the corner over there. I don't blame you, Rusty. He's a good guy. You're watching Raw Mike Richards from the DKI studios here, either on the dedicated YouTube channel or, of course, on our website. So we encourage you to subscribe. Got a lot of stuff coming down the pipe in the next, I would say, 10 days. So you want to make sure that you're on board when we make that announcement, because it's pretty cool. I guess we also fall in line with the never give up and don't stop. Hard work does pay off, and that's going to do that exactly for Raw Mike Richards in a very short period of time. So we appreciate that. And there's a young Jeremy out there. Young Jeremy from DKI is with us today, just having a look-see, and once again, we appreciate that, as we do all our sponsors. And don't forget Sports Interaction, Dave. Was probably, I'm sure, a busy weekend. No, I didn't win. I think Victor might have been like 4-1-1 push, I think is what he was. So we'll do that each and every Thursday, normally what we do.
Speaking of NFL, Josh Gordon, the newest member of the New England Patriots, he is expected, by the way, this is a little bit of a surprise, is expected to be part of the New England lineup on Sunday Night Football. They're in Detroit to play the Lions, so look for him to be in that. And your biggest spread of the week, no surprise, that Minnesota Vikings number has gone to 17-point favorites over the Buffalo Bills. They may win by 100.
Cover.
Yes.
And cover. That's incredible. That number, I wonder, what is the highest number do you think we're going to see with them? Because if it's not more than 17 at this point, and it's the Vikings.
Well, it might be next week, actually, because depending on what they do this week, Buffalo travels to Green Bay. So Aaron Rodgers against the Bills, is it higher than in my opinion, yes, just because of offense.
What's the highest number you've seen? I think 19.5 is the highest number that I've seen.
I'm trying to remember what I saw.
That was during the run where one of the seasons where they again were going to go undefeated, or that was the attempt.
I thought I saw a Patriots-Browns number around that.
I've seen 19.5, 18.5, 19.5. I think is the biggest that I've seen.
We're talking NFL. We're not talking about James Madison this weekend. 43-point favorites, and by the way, they covered. They covered that point.
Well, they're the machine down at that level of football. They're a cover machine.
But as far as this year is concerned, the Bills do play the Patriots later in December and at the end of October. I don't think that number is going to be as much as what we see with the Vikings and what we see with the Packers, just because the Packers and Vikings are a better team than the Patriots.
Also in football, the CFL, we talked about Johnny Manziel. We saw him courtesy of ESPN yesterday. They're still kind of, they say that there's no interest. I find that, you know what, and I would understand if they're really kind of going by Dave. I don't think there's any obsession, but it's still enough interest that ESPN is still covering it. He talked about some of his disappointment. Antonio Pipkin, the youngster out of Tiffin.
Sounds right, yeah.
People are like, how do you know these words? I don't know. I can't believe that was a sentence that I just said. Antonio Pipkin out of Tiffin. What? What is that? Johnny Football going to start. And if he's going to get himself out of his situation, and I really do think it is sort of a, if you're going to make a name for yourself, Dave, I think it probably has to be this week. I don't think you can go and throw picks, which, again, he hasn't. He's only had a couple of starts. Gets the concussion. He looked pretty good. I thought there was times he looked real good. It's just so hard, as you know, to stop and start at a certain age. Now he's got to go back in there, and he hasn't played in like 3 weeks.
Yep, 4 interceptions in 2 games played so far. Hasn't thrown a touchdown pass yet, and he faces the Bombers on Friday Night Football.
Hey, I saw a smile there. Don't say that you didn't smile because I just saw it.
I'm very excited about this game. Yeah. This is going to be a nice game. You a CFL guy or NFL guy or both? A little bit of something?
I am going to be 100% honest.
Yeah.
I know zero
really,
about football. You know what? I've always been a football, soccer, hockey guy, and I never got into football. I think I would love to compete in it and play, but I don't know. I'm real ignorant about it, so I'm trying to follow really
He'd be like Wally Zatelli. He reminds me of Wally a little bit.
I'm trying to follow really closely what you guys are saying here. I hope, though, that Johnny does kind of...
I'd like to see him do well.
Get everything together and come back. Everybody likes a comeback story, right? So, you don't want to just...
I'm still cheering for him. Like, I'll be honest. I'm still cheering for him, Dave. Maybe you don't want to see that this week.
Not this week.
Also, Dave became very quiet.
But it's huge. I think... if we had an NFL team here, maybe would that fly? would that fly?
I still don't know. I think this is a terrible football area, no matter what it is. And again, if they had their own team, but did you really see the NFL giving Toronto a franchise?
Nope.
I just don't. No. I just don't think it translates for a bunch of reasons. The same reason why I don't think they're thrilled when, or at least the Nielsen ratings, when the Toronto Blue Jays were in the World Series, because I don't believe they calculate that south of the border. I think it shows up as a 0.
And you know what's surprising about that, considering that Canadian sports in general. The Leafs are going to be on Wednesday night hockey 6 times this year. That's messed up. I know Rusty the Bear likes that, but on NBC, they're going to be part of Wednesday night hockey 6 games this season, which is the first time a Canadian team has played that many times on American television prime time.
I have never, and so I've been in this area for quite some time. As many of you know, my Uncle Guy, Gunnar Kinnear, trainer for the Leafs since... he was started with the Marlies in the 60s, so I think it was the late 60s, him and Joe Scrow. A lot of people know that name. I have never, ever seen a real positive attitude like I have in the last couple of years. But this year, Dave, this is the Leaf fans are just climbing on the walls. I mean, they can't wait for this thing to start. There is so much positive feelings and an expectation that is the highest that I've ever seen in Southern Ontario. Never seen it. Not like this.
I've only been here for 10 years, 12 years, and this is the most optimistic I've seen the city as walking into it, and just knowing the history of the organization. This might be the biggest year for them since like '67. That's kind of dating back.
I'm not saying there hasn't been positive. I mean, when I take a look at the Dougie Wendell years, that was big. I mean, the Sundin years,
not to this level.
They hope they win. They expect to win this fan base now. Expect to win.
By the way, one of those Wednesday games I was kind of talking off camera with Russ is Winnipeg, Toronto on Wednesday night. That's cool. Going to be good.
Do you still have season tickets?
I do.
Yeah. Do you sell them off when you can't go?
Yeah.
Do you jack them up?
All the time. I'm in business, Mike.
But I'm a nun from the orphanage. Yeah, you heard me. 300 each. Now, I know what you're saying. So Kevin's coming here. We've talked about South Dakota. We've talked about Rapid City. We've seen Leafs. We've seen Marner. We've seen former Leafs like JVR. But as Kevin said to me, but why have we not talked about Tracy Lords?
I don't remember him saying that.
Who's Tracy Lords?
Yeah, who is that? Well, if you're not familiar, she's a tremendous actress that showed up sometime in the 80s, one of Russell's favorites. And when, that weird Arsenio Hall and Joan Rivers had all those shows, a guy by the name of Ross Schaefer. Ross Schaefer used to he used to come in and MC these. And so Kevin said, for God's sakes, Mike, this morning, could we please see the interview with Ross Schaefer and Tracy Lords? Absolutely. And only on the show we can do this for Kevin Porter.
Now, I know this is a sensitive issue to talk about, but I was wondering, can we go back to when you're 14 years old?
Careful.
Ordinary? Were you an ordinary 8th grader?
Sure.
Yes, I guess I was.
Were you a cheerleader, or did you,
Not really. I was really, really shy when I was younger. And I was from Ohio, so California was very, very different for me. But I was just really quiet and shy and into myself.
Great actress.
Were you into school much?
Yeah, I was a really good student. I was a B. I could make A's when I wanted to work that hard.
Did you have a favorite subject?
Yep.
Can you remember? English?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
My mother's an English major, so she made me do it.
Oh, she made you do it, okay. But then, now that's, like, say, 13, 14 years old, just a normal freshman, I guess.
Yeah.
Then at 15 years old, what happened to change your attitude, your outlook on life?
Oh, I think a lot of things happened.
Oh, yeah.
I could sit here all night and try to tell you the reasons for some of the things that I did, and it still wouldn't be enough time to tell you. That's the reason I'm writing.
Oh, no, we get time.
Because I think that I have a whole lot of things to say that might help other people from making some of the same mistakes that I made.
And I guess, was it 15 years old? Is that when you left school?
Yeah, I dropped out of school.
You dropped out of school?
I was a sophomore.
16 years old.
No, I was 15 when I started.
You started in films? You were 15 years old?
I was 15. Well, I didn't start in films. I posed for Penthouse when I was 15.
Oh, really? Now that's news to me. I didn't know that.
Yeah. He didn't know that.
That guy's a creepy dude, eh? The sweater kind of screamed creep as well.
Oh, yeah.
That's like Coach Frank sweater. That's how creepy that
You know what kind of sweater that was?
Mm.
Cosby sweater.
Cosby, yes. Eat the pudding.
Yeah. Also,
Just become best friends.
not good.
It is a Cosby sweater.
Yeah.
It's
Look at me fumbling. It's okay. Let's go back. So when did you say what you want to say? That's what you wanted to say. Just say it. Do it. Poor Kevin Porter came on, and the best of intentions, and we end off with the 15-year-old porn star. All that is the show, Kevin.
Yeah, I'm just here as a guest.
Yeah.
You guys do a good job. Having some fun.
Let's all thank Kevin Porter and wish him the best of luck.
Best of luck. I know
Rapid
we'll be
City.
in touch.
Thank you guys.
Yes, we will.
Yeah, much appreciated.
That's phenomenal.
Keep you posted. And
Yeah, keep us posted.
Absolutely.
We got our fingers crossed. And Ted Nesbitt, still send the 100. Don't just say you're going to do it and then not do it.
he can do it.
Like always.